Hello and welcome to the Build with Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit. I'm also here to hang out with all of you. I'm going to start things off by throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego to the site, the tier 2 blue emote in chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you feel like being a lurker, go ahead and lurk. That's also a thing you could do. We got Aristophan here. We got Ghost Valve. We already got a great crew of folks here. Happy to have you here. Welcome, welcome. To the Monday festivities. We are beginning a new model kit. That's right. We are starting. We're kicking things off. Day one. Hey, Lashbrook, welcome on the Gaia Gundam high grade. The Gaia Gundam from Gundam Seed Destiny. This kit shouldn't be too difficult of a build based on the time that came out, 2004, I want to say, but mostly because it's a primarily black kit, so we will not have 2005. Pardon me. So we will not have to do a lot of panel lining. There's some purple in it and some gray, but it's like a lot of black. And then there's some stickers. There are some stickers for color correcting and all of that. So that will take a little bit of effort to apply the stickers. But yeah, hey, Lord Crashes, and welcome. We got a great crew here already. Hell yeah. A reminder that it's September, and if you would like to become a subscriber, you could become a subscriber. Well, hey, what's going on with Nightbot? Nightbot, where are you? Where are you, Nightbot? Are you here? Are you chill? What's going on? Nightbot did not give this information, so I will pop it in the chat for myself here. Boo earns, Nightbot. From now until October 1st, I should say, 25% off new subs. Don't use the Switch app. There will be a discount on gifted subs coming on the 26th, I want to say. Let's bring up that photo. Yes. Bonus gift subs from the 26th to October 1st. They'll add one gift sub for every 5 gift subs. That's not cumulative. If you gift 5 subs into the community, a 6th gifted sub will be added. That's how that works out. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why Nightbot didn't want to show that. Hopefully Nightbot will figure things out later in an hour when I want to write things in. Let's see if Lurker shows up. No, it doesn't. What's going on, Nightbot? You're a moderator here. You have permissions. Weird. That's strange. I don't know why Nightbot's not doing its thing or its thing. Let me sign back in. I'll do one quick thing. I'm gonna build the model kit. Don't you worry. But let me just yeah, sign in here. Commands, customs. Show them. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. I took a vacation day. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, like I said, in an hour when I need it, hopefully we'll be good. But let's go over the main here. Let's get into it. We're going to start here with the chest. So we'll begin the chest here. That's nice and easy. Nice, easy start to our model kit building shenanigans. D here. Okay, we need D. We'll get that out. It is a Monday. It was a bit of a slow news day when it comes to video game stuff. There were a few things that we can chat about. First, we'll say that unfortunately there were some layoffs announced today. But as far as what got reported, I can only talk to you about one, which is kind of amazing. There were, 16 people laid off at Airship Syndicate. Airship Syndicate are the makers of the MMO, the free-to-play MMO Wayfinder, which is a ship-based thing. Last year they broke away with their publisher and became a self-publish project. In January they laid off 12 employees, and now they have laid off 16 more. I should say, just because it is relevant to discussions here, should mention that those folks, the co-founders of the company, did take a pay decrease in their own pay. They cut their own pay, and apparently they are continuing to do so. So while that is not necessarily comfort to those that have lost their job, it is at least something, and that is, you cannot say that for every company that has had layoffs this year, or I think maybe only like 2 others have at the very least announced it, if not done it. Hey Vash, welcome. So at the very least, we're happy to hear that part of it. Yeah, so they're still working on it, but it's a bummer. In the world, we have not done an Elon Musk update in a little bit, so we should do a quick Elon Musk update. If it has not happened already, it is coming soon. It is imminent. This is a thing that he has been talking about doing for a very long time over on Twitter. Basically, since he took over, he has wanted this, which is changing the block button. Yes, Lord Crashington, we do want to keep up to date on this stuff, even if it is, annoying to keep up to date on it. The block button is going away as we know it. You can still block people, but soon, when you block someone, they will not be able to interact with you. That means liking your content, replying to your content, and sending you messages, sending you DMs, sending you any kind of message, tagging you in things. That cannot happen. But they will not be removed from reading your tweets. If you have a public account, your public posts will be viewable. So it is removing the barrier or the thing of having an alt account that follows someone that wants to block you, or logging yourself out of X to then go and see people, that kind of thing. That is now removed, and all you will merely need to do is be fine with not interacting. That is frustrating in many ways. It is it's just like an annoying thing. Mostly it allows for even more harassment. It makes it easier for people to follow folks that would like, for whatever reason. Hey, because remember, folks, you can mute and you can block whoever, whenever. You don't need a reason. They don't owe you. You are not, like, no one is owed your time or space or energy. I've seen accounts I blocked show up in searches. Yes, I mean that's been broken pre-Musk. That searches didn't work with searches wouldn't prevent things that you've blocked, and also you could still see people that you blocked coming into your being retweeted. Even then, you wouldn't see the content, but you would see that someone is retweeting them, or someone is retweeting someone who's retweeting them. That kind of a thing, and then which again defeats the purpose of being blocked. But those are issues that are just inherent to Twitter and how they work, and they could have been solved at some point, but it seems like that was not a priority for anybody to fix those things. But yes, if you are searching for a keyword and someone you blocked shows up in the search, that's frustrating. But yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, the goal, Lord Crashton, it's blocking is not so much that, like, oh, I don't want to see that person. I don't want to read what they have to say. A lot of people didn't treat it that way. A lot of people treated blocking like, I would like you not to see what I'm doing. And now that is gone. So now it is just, I will not see what you have to say, which is, again, not a solution. All right, I have to find this sticker here. This is a sticker that's going to go in the center of this. I believe that is going to be a red sticker. There it is. There's the red sticker. So we are applying our first sticker, everybody. We did it. Our first sticker is going on here. So yeah, this was just a small update, not a big thing, but it is something to be aware of. Just like it's out there. Let's see other things to talk about here. So this is a report that I read about a survey done on Consumer World. Now, when I talk about this, thing, please bear in mind that this is not a scientific research study. This is a survey. A very small amount of people were surveyed on Consumer World, a consumer advocacy website. So, reminder, the people that are going to be responding to this survey are only 1,124 people. And there are people who are predisposed to visit a website about consumer advocacy. So again, we're talking this is a very small thing, but it is interesting. The results that are provided by this were interesting enough that I felt like we should at least mention it. So here we go. Upon discovery, again, this is according to a survey. Upon discovery that an item they want to buy is in a locked case, the anti-theft prevention measures at shopping plazas and, Rite Aids and all kinds of things, right? Pharmacies, all that. Upon discovering an item they want to buy is in a locked case, less than 1 in 3 shoppers, that's 32%, so that's a little less than 1 in 3, get a store employee to unlock the case, according to a reader survey for Consumer World. For 55% of respondents, it's a lost sale because when a product is locked up, they try to buy it elsewhere. And the remaining 13% try to find an alternative product in the same store that is not locked up. So 32% try to get somebody to open up the case. 13% try to find something similar in the store because they still want the product, even if they can't get the product. They're still going to try to get the product. And then 55% are just like, this is not worth it to me to go get that. Now, there are 2 ways most of the time. Lord Crashington, video games are different because for folks that are of a certain age, they may remember something like Toys R Us, where the video games were in a locked case. You got a slip of paper, you went to the counter, you handed the slip of paper, and then either someone went to go get the item or they had it behind the counter. This is different. This is a locked case for deodorant, and you have to go find an employee to come to the locked case, unlock the case so that you can pick the thing that you wanted, and then you go and pay for it. Or there is a button sometimes in some stores, there's a button, and then someone will come and unlock the case. There's no like ticket or paper or something that you can go turn in. Now, again, later there were times where things would be locked up. You had to go get somebody for modern electronics and like a Kmart or a Walmart. There are some stuff that's locked up. But now it is anything they think will be stolen. Now there is a part of that 55% that are just like, well, fuck this, I'm not doing that. This is a reminder that some of that percentage is going to be people who could not find someone to unlock it, or no one came and responded to the buzzer. There was an anecdote, when I saw this article, there was an anecdote that was basically like, hey, it was like one day I wanted something and I pressed the button and I was like, I'm going to see how long this takes. And they said, I gave up after 15 minutes. Someone got on the PA to tell me, aisle 1, please continue to wait. So somebody knew that I was waiting, but they couldn't they couldn't send anybody. And part of that is because these same stores that are putting things behind locks are also trying to replace humans with machines, with self-checkout. So I don't know how that works in their heads, where we're going to have less people. We're going to have quotas of inventory they need to restock. And then also they need to help customers get things out of a case or cases, but also because we don't have them, because of course we're trying to save money by having self-checkout. And there always has to be someone near self-checkout because the self-checkout is like rarely working. Fear over a thing that doesn't happen to the degree that the retailers claim it is happening. Yes, you may have noticed this year, folks, that apparently we won though. We won because the chains, not individuals, these were gangs. These were shoplifting gangs. They clearly got defeated. Because there's recently there was a CNN article about how mentioning of shrink. That is their industry term for shoplifting, because you don't want to say shoplifting and stuff. Mentions of shrink on earnings calls for the first 2 quarters of 2024 were down 20% compared to the same period a year ago. A year ago, American stores declared a shoplifting epidemic. This year, retailers are telling a different story, or no story at all. It's as if the shopping crisis suddenly vanished. And of course, what do those 55% of people who are just not going to bother do? Well, they try another store, or they just buy shit on Amazon. Yeah. And of course, when we talk about shoplifting, this was not included in this article, but it should have been included in this article. When we talk about shoplifting, when we talk about companies losing money and theft, we never talk about wage theft in those conversations. And we should talk about wage theft. Of course, we should always be, not always, but we should be having the conversation about wage theft as well. And we don't talk about that, and we should. Because obviously it is a fucking brutal thing for a lot of people. Then they wonder why they stopped trying to get things to the store. Yes. Oh, no. See, yeah. When people are like, why doesn't my local store have any goods? It's because, part of it is because you're buying them at other places. But also because your store is a chain and they are not targeted to your location. They are targeted to generalities and all of that. And they got a lot on their plates that they're trying to deal with here. And you, the small consumer, don't matter as much as the perceived consumers that they are missing out on. Generally, these types of stores don't focus on the retaining customers so much as creating new ones or bringing in new ones. Those are usually the focus because while people do have, in some instances, an unhealthy degree of brand loyalty, convenience wins over loyalty in many, many ways. Because there will be people that are like, look, there are 3 major grocery store chains in my area. The closest is Food Lion. We end up at Food Lion a lot because it's the closest. The most expensive is Publix. Publix is pretty goddamn great. But Publix is very expensive. So, it is a decision you must make. And when grocery prices are so high, you make that less. Even though that's a good store and the employees are paid well and things work out, find yourself at that store the least. And the middle ground, the middle ground may not be better than Food Lion. Kroger might not be better than Food Lion. It's definitely not better than Publix, but they got cash points for gas. They got gas points, I should say. So, and their gas prices are good. So the gas prices are good, and you get points for buying gas there, which you can use in the store. So, even though Publix is the best, we shop there the least. Because it's so expensive. And it's just loyalty only gets you so far. And if you had on your block a CVS and a Walgreens, you got a Walgreens and a CVS, and one is it's inconsequential how far apart they are from where you need to go, right? Like you can pick one or the other. You go to either. You got, they got this thing there and you got this and that. But you keep going into CVS, and every time you go into CVS, one of the items you need out of that CVS is behind, is locked up. And so you need to, every time you want to get that item, you have to go and find somebody or press the button and hope that somebody comes to you. Every time. And they don't have that at Walgreens. You go to Walgreens. Why wouldn't you go to the Walgreens for the thing that you want if they have the thing you want and it isn't going to be annoying? Or vice versa, or in another way, as we chatted about, if one store never has a cashier, and you don't like the self-checkout, then you're not going to go to the one with the self-checkout as much. And on the flip side of that, for me, I will say, I personally, because I used to buy stuff at night, I always wanted self-checkout because it was not hard. I could get in, I could get out. I was going to pay by card anyway. I just want to get in and get out. Self-checkout was never a problem for me. At a grocery store, I don't want to do that. If I'm going in and I'm just like picking up a couple things and I know what I have and the barcodes on everything I'm buying, I just want to get in and get out of there, and I'll use the self-checkout because it's not a problem. But yeah, the worst is to find a new item you like and they stop stocking it shortly after that. Yeah, that is frustrating when you find something that you want and they're not restocking it because turns out you're the person that buys it. Other people weren't buying the thing and they don't have, or their supplier changed or whatever. Any number of things happen and suddenly you can't get the thing that you would like. My dad really likes buying these like local popcorns, bag of popcorn. And the one he hasn't bought them for a while because we bought like 2 bags in a row that were stale. And there's no way to tell that the popcorn's stale. There's just no way. You just buy it and you hope it's not. And then, so he hasn't bought it in a while. And he was like, I'm going to try again. Because now they have expiration dates on them. The expiration date is like December. Guess what? It's stale. And so it was just like, and you never know, like they could have put the older ones in the front or put the older ones in the back. So you pull from the middle and you just hope. Ugh. But there's like no way to know. And it's just like, all right, we'll stop buying these. Like the unfortunate solution to this problem is let's stop doing that. Which is like, that's not an answer you want. You just like want the thing that you want, and when you don't get it, it's annoying. But it's like, what are you gonna do? You can't. There's no way to test it. I mean, the way to test it is you can't open it without like ripping a thing, because there's no way to open it and like eat a piece of popcorn and go like, oh, that's stale. Oh, that's not stale. Like if that was the case, then it would work out. I'm like, yeah, I think you gotta. Unfortunately, oops, let me get this cap here so that I dropped the cap on my marker. I don't want my marker to dry out. It wouldn't probably dry out in 2 hours, but still, safety first. But yeah, I know, all that stuff sucks. Let's see. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this. The folks who were putting on an event for Dreamforce, one of the many events for Dreamforce, the closing night of Dreamforce festivities, Salesforce, their big event. Somebody, there's entertainment. There's always going to be entertainment, right? Somebody apparently thought it would be a good idea to hire John Mulaney for this gig. If you were unaware, John Mulaney is a stand-up comedian. He was an SNL writer. He has been in the news for various things and things due to his various attempts. He's unfortunately a variety of attempts of recovering from addiction. He is a bit of a mess of a person. I will say that, hey, I should say before we get into this, it is important to just have that as a reference, that he is a bit of a mess of a man. I hope that he does well in recovery and that he's going to get better. I'm hopeful. I knew John for several years through comedy circles. I know John's ex-wife very well, and I feel for her because it is a bad situation. All that being said, they hired John Mulaney, and he roasted their fucking asses. He got paid probably very well to just roast their asses completely and utterly. And it fucking rules. It's awesome. It's very good. Somebody fucked up. John probably played it clean. He probably didn't swear too much. He probably didn't talk about politics that much. There were probably things. I am sure that his things that he agreed to do in order to get paid for this gig were probably content related. And I just have to imagine that no one thought to say, hey, don't eviscerate the people that you got hired to do this gig for. Which apparently, I have to imagine no one thought to say that because he certainly did it. Speaking of self-checkout, you look like a group who looked at the self-checkout counters at CVS and thought, this is the future. If AI is truly smarter than us and tells us that humans should die, then I think we should die. So many of you feel imminently replaceable. Can AI sit there in a fleece vest? Can AI not go to events and spend all day at a bar? This is part of the 45-minute set. You're an account executive at Top Low. But no, she works at Tableau, not Top Low. You know in your goddamn bones that a bunch of you are working on products that are just okay, but you have to vamp and make up terms to make it sound more awesome than it is. You're a VP of customer service. You're a VP of customer success. Congratulations on your position that did not exist 5 years ago. He did talk about his rehab, talked about his family, but he did also work the crowd, which again, I have to imagine people were not expecting. What's important here is that we're looking for solutions, he said sarcastically. And in looking for solutions, what we're really after is insights, which then lead to success. Now start prepping the humans for robots. Some of the vaguest language ever devised has been used here in the last 3 days. The fact that there are 45,000 trailblazers here could not devalue the title anymore. That's my favorite line of it because it's the most truthful. 45,000 trailblazers. Yes, Snuffy. This is from his set at Salesforce. Again, John is a mess of a person. I hope for his recovery. He was very kind when I worked with him. He was very nice. This was a dude who, very smart, wealthy. Guy was already loaded from his folks. Wanted to be in the comedy scene. Was a stand-up, interned at UCB, so he could be around more and do some more stuff. He stopped interning because he was on the weekends and he was getting gigs. He was getting offers for gigs that paid him, so he had to stop interning. He was a real good dude, and I knew him best when he was not on drugs. And I hope that once again he is no longer on drugs. But yeah, it's a rough time. One of my favorite John Mulaney memories, and I'll get into the rest of this here, from the San Francisco Standard that recounted this is, John's then wife was doing a show, and John came into the tech booth, and the room you couldn't hear. You could hear what was going on in the venue. The venue couldn't hear us. So he goes, "Hey, Pat, can I hang out here?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's going on?" He's like, "You all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to hear a set, but there are a couple people in the green room that are gonna laugh too hard. You know what I mean?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," because because she's hilarious, but I didn't write the jokes, so they don't have to pretend, like laugh or don't laugh, but like, come on. Like, what do they think? They're gonna laugh. They're gonna laugh real hard. I'm gonna get an SNL job. I was like, and then so I just go, "Well, John, not before you get me a gig, right?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, buddy, I'm looking out for you." It was just a very fun moment. It was a good moment with a good dude who, again, has had some fucking rough times that are unfortunately very self-inflicted. But had some good times with John. I am not excusing any of his behavior. Also, apparently, he's also this Thursday he's doing a set. Let's see. Comedian rounded out his Dreamforce appearance by thanking attendees for the world you've created for my son, where he will never talk to an actual human again. Instead, a little cartoon Einstein will pop up and give him a sort of good answer and probably refer to him to another chatbot. And then, he went back to his jokes. He didn't just roast them for 45 minutes. He just did crowd work, and that crowd work involved making fun of them. I do wonder why they hire a comedy writer who seems to know AI is trying to put him out of... Lord Crashington. They don't think about that at all. They can't think about that. Would want to roast them. Lord Crashington, they can't for a moment reflect on if anything they're doing is harmful or wrong. They're visionaries. They're, as he even says, they're trailblazers. Salesforce had this whole recruitment program they're doing through the VA, and having worked sales previously, just the initial roadmap introduction to it was extremely off-putting. Yeah. So look, I don't throw around cult all the time. I got accused of being part of a cult, and I wasn't part of a cult. I was part of a pyramid scheme. They're different. They're both shitty, but they're different. I was part of a pyramid scheme, and I was low on the pyramid. But I wasn't the lowest part of the pyramid, but I was low on the pyramid. Salesforce is cultish. And you have to be, because if you have a moment of self-reflection, like, oh, do you think if we hired this stand-up comedian, he's going to make fun of us? No, you have to go, oh, we got John Mulaney. He's got a lot of buzz. He's had a Netflix special and a bunch of other things. And it's like, oh, that'll be fun. Like, you don't for a second think about the fact that he might say mean things. It's just not what they would think of. Like, you can't have self-aware, like, nobody at the point that is so, how should I put this? The ones that know they're in on it are nowhere near this event. They have people do that for them, right? They're not at the comedy show to end the event, the private gig. They send underlings to do that, and the underlings, some of whom are at least like, well, I'm not like this person, I'm doing better, but they're all part of the system that was set up, and you have to buy into it, because otherwise you start thinking about like, oh man, when I moved here to San Francisco 10 years ago, the city's really gone downhill. And you can't stop to think about why that is, because you're one of the reasons why. Like, you can't. So you just have to be like gung-ho and psyched about this stuff. Yeah, it's rough. I say this for somebody who has had a lot of interviews with a lot of startups that are going to change the world, and not in the ways that would be beneficial to the world. They're going to disrupt industries that don't need to be disrupted, and they are going to change how they make money, really. But they can't say that. They got to say that they're going to change the game. It is almost never for companies that are working on anything useful for most people. It is always people who are inventing They are inventing solutions to problems that don't exist or have already been solved. So I don't know the full joke that Mulaney does, but he changed it to be about Salesforce, which I really appreciate. Mulaney shared an anecdote about how he and his son, who is nearly 3, like to play baseball in their front yard. We're just 2 guys hitting wiffle balls badly and yelling "good job" at each other. It's sort of the same energy here at Dreamforce, and that's the button we should end this part on. Not just that joke, which is good, but also it's important to remember that this event is called Dreamforce. And they don't want their employees or their people to think for a second about how that sounds. That Salesforce's big corporate thing is called Dreamforce. You can't think about it, because if you think about it too hard, you start going, fuck. Is this what? Shit. What are we doing here? Lord Crashton wants me to the dance button, and I will. I'll have the dance button just 1 second. Let me find this polycap here that I need. I need M. All these are M. This must be M, but I will do it. Sorry. The way the lights hit, sometimes I can't read the instructions properly here. All right. Thank you for using your channel points for me to hit the dance button. This is a thing that I do. Here is the dance song. Oh, yeah. We're building a shield. We don't have middle arms yet, but we built a gun, and now we're building a shield, and I'm dancing a little bit. Yeah. Thank you for using your channel points for the dance button. I hope you enjoy this. I can't dance as well in this chair as I could, because this chair is on wheels and wants to move around a little bit, whereas my previous chair, I could definitely swivel my hips more. I got to be careful, because all I do is I'm rocking the chair more than anything else, so it's a bit different. Yeah, we're building a gun and a shield for a kit that doesn't have arms. That's just what we're doing. All right, that was it for that. That was very funny. Let's see. Other news stories to talk about. Tomorrow, there will be another State of Play showcase. Updates on 20 games. 30-minute presentation will have more about Death Stranding 2 and other upcoming PS5 and PSVR 2 exclusives. I can't tell you for sure how many of those. Kickoff on Tuesday, updates on over a dozen games across PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2. And again, only 30 minutes. Supposedly nothing new. That's tomorrow on the 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. We'll talk about it on Thursday. The remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater will be there. Or no, that's at Tokyo Game Show. I'm sorry. Tokyo Game Show is showing Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, so it's probably going to be somewhere in there. We don't think there'll be any new announcements. There might be new announcements at Tokyo Game Show, but of course we don't know. That's just a heads up for folks to look for that tomorrow. We will talk more about that on Thursday, of course. Thursday, we'll also do a preview of WWE's Bad Blood, which begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. You're like, Pat, 6 p.m. Eastern, that's really early for WWE outside of if they do show in another country. Well, that's because this is the first time since the merger, the TKO merger, where WWE has an event the same day as UFC. So they're trying to get it so there's not an overlap, which makes a lot of sense. Maybe they shouldn't be doing them on the same day, but whatever, they are. Okay, so I need this one. This is the piece here. So that's happening. So that shows at 6 p.m. So I guess I can watch that, because even if it's 3 hours, I'll just cut out right at the end and watch that there. And I have to imagine they won't do a super long pre-show. Maybe they will. But yeah, I'll watch Bad Blood. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley are going to fight in a match for the women's title with Rhea's former boyfriend and Liv's current beau, Dominic Mysterio, in a shark tank hanging above the ring. I fucking love wrestling. I goddamn love motherfucking wrestling. Goddamn motherfucking kick-ass, cool as hell wrestling. Oh, we can't ban him from ringside. He'll sneak to ringside. The only way to prevent him from interfering in this match is to suspend him above the ring in a shark tank. Or shark cage, sorry. Not shark tank. A shark cage. I love wrestling. There's 5 matches on the card. Liv versus Rhea. Nia Jax versus Bayley or Naomi. We'll find out on Friday who wins between Bayley and Naomi. They both pinned Nia, or they both are number 1 contenders, but they have to settle it. It should be a 3-way fight. I think it's going to end up being a 3-way fight. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell, which will probably main event, unless it's Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus the Bloodline. In this case, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Can they coexist? Probably. But that's Roman's first match since losing at WrestleMania. So, a bit of a big deal for some people. And also Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, which doesn't need to be on a pay-per-view card, but whatever, sure. God, I hope Drew wins. I really hope Drew wins. I think Punk is going to win the cage Hell in a Cell, but I think Drew should win it. I really think Drew should just win that match. But again, I don't know how they're going to do it. All right. Let's build. Let's work on an arm. We finished the chest. We finished the head. We got the weapons done. Let's get an arm going on here. I don't know if any other matches are going to be set. I'm kind of surprised. It has not been set yet because he keeps saying no. Sami Zayn wants to fight Gunther for the World Heavyweight title, and Gunther keeps saying no, even though Sami beat Gunther for the International Championship or Intercontinental Championship. So he really should have an opportunity. That match could theoretically happen tonight during Raw. They could finally set that up, but also they could wait for the next one, which I think, makes sense. But I would prefer they have the match because I think that match will be cool. So here's a fun little bit of business. This is just a little bit of business for y'all. Apparently, the folks that made Echoes of Wisdom. Originally, Echoes of Wisdom started off as a Zelda maker in the spirit of Mario Maker. It was an internal level editor, or internal developed level editor that they were prototyping, which eventually evolved into the full game. And that's cool as hell, and that's stuff we don't normally get to hear about. So I'm really happy that we do know that. This is the producer. Sorry, hold on one second. Gotta check this. Hold on. Oh, okay, that's just somebody agreeing with me. That's fine. I'll read that later. So they were exploring a bunch of different things. This is the producer and the directors of the game, the team at Grizo, who are the primary folks on the game, had an interview, ahead of the game's release, talking about it. Let's see, I need number B26. This number here, there it is, B26. So they talked about it, a bunch of ideas, and Echoes of Wisdom originally started its life as a different idea. They were exploring a few different ways to play the game in parallel. In one approach, Link could copy and paste. So that was kind of what they were working for. Various objects, such as doors and candlesticks, to create original dungeons. During this exploration phase, the idea was called an edit dungeon because players could create their own Legend of Zelda gameplay. They showed it to me and told me to give it a try. As I played, I started thinking that it was fun to create your own dungeon and let other people play it. It's also not so bad to place items that can be copied and pasted in the game field and create gameplay where they can be used to fight enemies. That was the beginning of the gameplay using echoes. The gameplay was shifted from creating dungeons up until they using copying and pasted items as tools to further your own adventure. So basically, they were like, "Oh, this is a prototype." Like, we like this idea. We're just not going to do this part of it. We can put it on there. The idea of Edit Zelda wasn't short-lived. They spent months working on it. But basically, it became what we're getting, which is Zelda can do shit in the environment that and edit and change things around in a more linear game than just an open-ended dungeon maker. Let's see. I do love this. This is a thing that, again, you don't hear this from Nintendo that often. Generally, it's not before a game comes out. It's years after the game is out that you hear worries they had while making the game, or in this case, prototyping the game. The Zelda producer said that with all the items players can copy and the different types of echoes they can make, he was worried the mechanic might constantly crash the game. I wasn't sure how far we could go, but in the end, it was amazing to see how many echoes it was possible to create in the game. And the results apparently turned out to be surprisingly fun, especially since Echoes changes viewpoints between third-person top-down and 2D side-scrolling. He thought to himself, I never knew this was possible. Of course, creating dungeons was fun, but being able to copy various objects and use them in different places was even more fun, which is what you say when your original idea doesn't get picked and you're still a person on the company, still a person representing the company in interviews. You probably don't say, I liked our original idea better, but oh well, we're doing this one. Yeah, you probably don't say that. Again, we're learning more about the game than we would, in my opinion, that you normally would in these kind of cycles. But yeah, at some point they were fairly serious about prototyping, at least, a Zelda, or a Link game, Link's game where you moved around and built dungeons and such, which I hope they revisit, because that could be fucking pretty cool. There are only so many Nintendo properties that I would like a maker of, and one of them is a Zelda maker, or Legend of Zelda maker. That could be fucking pretty dope, if you ask me. All right, let's keep working on this ARM. Do I have anything else going on here to chat with yous about? Somebody make a roguelike Zelda game for PC recently. Yes. Yes, people try to make the things they didn't get to see, or they don't think they'll ever see. People do try to make that shit themselves, and I think that's fucking reasonable. Okay. Uh, Warhammer 40K Space Marine devs are talking about DLC and talking about the idea of Space Marine 3. So I guess Space Marine is doing well enough that they're at least talking about 3, which is good. Good for them. I have not picked up that. I would probably play it, but I haven't played it. Wouldn't mind playing it, but haven't played it. Let's see. I need N here, and then I need H. H is this one. Great. Working on the arm here. So somebody showed up at a Chapel Roan concert, and we're taking photos. Using a Nintendo DS or possibly a 3DS. We don't have confirmation. She referred to it as a DS. It was possibly a 3DS. Well, this is in London. Someone was taking photos in the handheld, the clamshell version. So we know it wasn't a 2DS because it had a clamshell. And she says, "Bitch, is that a DS? You keep taking photos on your DS. You keep doing it." And I love that. One, I love the person holding the DS to take photos, Chapel Roan. I think that's fantastic. I think that is phenomenal that someone is taking photos on their DS or 3DS. Use whatever hey, the best camera you've got is the one in your pocket. So use that camera. That's rad. I love Chapel Roan just being like, "Bitch, is that a DS?" Like, just such a fun response. Just like a playful, fun response. I'd be like, "Yeah, you do you." I am reminded of this. I will always talk about this anecdote because it makes me laugh every time. Years ago, Dan Reichert sent me a DM, always a good thing, saying, "Pat, I got another ticket for a Ring of Honor show tonight." And I did not have plans that night. So I went to a Ring of Honor show in New York with Dan. Obviously, this is when Dan and I both lived in New York. So we're going to go to the show. We got floor seats. They're like good in the Hammerstein. These are good seats. In like the second row, I would have to be a DSi or a 3DS. Yes, sure. New Yorker Dan Rickard, yes. So we got good seats because Dan finagled. He goes to the, like, you have to pay extra, like, meet and greet, which he didn't pay extra for. He just went in there because Cody wanted to say hi because he was in some sort of gaming thing with Cody over the years. But he's like, "Oh yeah, I got to say hi to Cody. This is Ring of Honor Cody, way pre AW." The Hardy Boys are there. The Hardy Boys that night win the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, which they will then later lose back to the Young Bucks. And then the Hardys will return to WWE. This is like their warm-up before they go back, which is very fun because I never thought I would see Jeff Hardy wrestle ever after I'd seen him. So to see him in 2011 or whatever, 2013, something like that, is remarkable. Very happy about that. Good show. But I notice in like the second row, there are two older ladies. These are old ladies, which is great. That's awesome. Old ladies kept, look, I'm going to be real with you. In the territory days, wrestling survived because of old ladies that got invested in wrestling. They would come every week and cheer on the good guys and threaten to kill the bad guys. Old ladies are essential to wrestling survival. Old ladies were incredibly important because if your parents wouldn't let you watch wrestling, maybe your grandma would, because she still liked her stories. And her stories sometimes were about, dusty roads. Anyway, there's a match happening, and these two ladies are cheering and they're going wild. And one of them pulls out an iPad, a full Generation 1 or maybe 2, before they got any smaller, a big old giant iPad, and takes a photo of one of the wrestlers with that iPad. And they're cheering for a bad guy, Adam Cole, baby. They are cheering for Adam Cole. And all I can think of is this is one of these women Adam Cole's aunts? Or are they both his aunts? Who are these women? Because they're in the second fucking row of this show in New York. They were. One of them was related to Adam Cole, I found out later. But just, again, your camera is the best one. Your best camera is the one you have. And in that case, it was a goddamn original fucking iPad. A giant-ass iPad. And it fucking whipped ass. I thought that was the coolest, dumbest shit. That was so fucking funny to me. I should also say, I went with Dan to the thing we weren't supposed to be in, and we went up to Cody, and I said hello. He talked to Dan. He talked some shit about some kind of video game that Dan was playing, that with, whatever. They talked about games for a second. And then I said, Dan, we should get back to our seats. We're not supposed to be here. And Cody gave me this look like, yeah, thank you. Cody did not give me a look that said, like, thank God. It gave me a look that, like, oh, that guy knows what's up, which is true. I do know what's up. It was it was Clash Royale or something to that effect, I'm sure. But yes, Cody Rhodes pegged me as a guy that knew that Dan had just Dan'd his way into this meet and greet, and we shouldn't be there. So I was like, Dan, we're not supposed to be here. But I am also fully convinced that Dan did know, but was using his Dan Reichertness to just do what he wanted to do, because he could always just pretend like he didn't know. Because Cody saying, oh, stop by at this point before the show and say hi, means if you can do that, don't just do that. Yes. Same logic you use to go into restrooms from the exit to cut in line. Yes. Or one thing I should say, it is in my storage room in in New York. I do not have it here. I have it in my New York storage room, storage area. Is a signed autograph photo from the Hardy Boys that he went and got during intermission, which again, he did not pay for, and he did not pay to have access. He just went in, and one of the Hardys remembered him from Game Informer, and so he got a signed thing for his friend Pat, and then presented it to me. And I must stress, this was not a thing I asked for. Did not ask her that, and I appreciated it very much. But I did not ask her it at all. This was just a Dan Reichert, this'll be fun, I'll get this for Pat. And he's right. It was fun. It's a fun thing he did. But also, come on, Dan. Today is Matt Hardy's birthday. Well, there you go. Happy birthday, Money Matt. But yes, a lot of Dan Reichert stuff is just Dan Reichert being goddamn motherfucking Dan Reichert and just doing whatever a Dan Reichert does. All right, which sticker is this going to be? It's going to be this line. Should be a triangle shape. Oh, yes, it's that one. Okay. It's this one. Great. I'll know that for after the pause for the cause. I don't know. Matt Hardy right now is some variation of his TNA Matt Hardy, but not fully that Matt Hardy. I have not been paying attention to their work in TNA. Not that they have done a lot because they're not under contract with them. They just have made appearances. I haven't kept up too much, but we'll see what he ends up when the two of them end up back in WWE, which is coming. I imagine it will be probably Royal Rumble period. And they will, because it seems like both of them have convinced themselves that they want one last run and then a Hall of Fame induction, which I think is fucking fair. They should. But who knows? Who the fuck knows? They could both decide they want to keep wrestling full time and just work indies and TNA and try to re-sign with WW or with AEW. But I imagine they'll both go back to the Fed at some point. Especially if one of their favorite tag teams to work against, Motor City Machine Guns, are going to NXT, which seems like that's the case. Anyway, now is the part of the stream where I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel. Beautiful segue, Pat. Everything I'm about to talk about here is completely optional. You are under no requirement to do any of these things. I am not making demands. I am just letting you know that if you are interested in helping me out, you're more than welcome to. If you are currently a subscriber to the Build with Bear Workshop, you can throw the Barricade Lego Site Tier 2 blue emote in chat right now. Let the people know being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here financially. Through Cash Money. Or your Prime Gaming token via Amazon, linked with your Twitch. You get that token. You can use it for anybody. If you want to use it for me, that would be great. Bits and coins are always appreciated. Gifting subs, always welcome. If you want to be part of the gift sub leaderboard, join that. For just one gifted sub, you'll join that. It's September. If you are new and you have not subscribed to me before, you can save. Oh, good. Nightbot is working. Hell yeah. You can save 25% off new subs. So consider doing that. Don't use the Twitch app. Just use it through here. Starting on the 26th, so Thursday's stream, there will also be a thing where if you gift 5 subs, a 6th gift sub will be given out. But again, that's on the 26th, so don't worry about that now. That's honestly, if you want to financially support me on a monthly basis, that's the easiest way to do it. There are other ways, and you're welcome to the other ways, like my Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. Over on Patreon, there's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier set up. There are different rewards for different tiers. Consider, if you would like, to join me on Patreon. Patreon.com/PatBear. At one of those tiers. Love to have you over there. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBear. Subscribing to my YouTube is free, and if you haven't already, please consider doing that while you're on my YouTube. Think about maybe becoming a member over there. For just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday, so you get them a day early, which is nice, and I hope you like that. I hope that's good for you. Let's see. You'll see a video tomorrow. If you join my membership, you'll be able to watch the video tomorrow before other people get to watch it. So think about that. You'll find out what the last Isekai of Isekai month is that I'm promoting. Let's see, what else? Those are monthly ways to support me. If you want to help me out on a one-time basis, not a monthly basis, totally understand, but if you want to help, that would be great. You can do so. Oops, sorry, wrong one here. This one. This is the one I wanted. I copied the wrong thing. Here we go. How about going over to direct donations? Oh, come on, Nightbot, you are working. Here we go. Here are some links to benefit me and my Ko-Fi and my PayPal. Everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense. So watching my videos helps me out. Through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund. And out of that fund, I buy model kits, including the model kit that I'm currently working on right now, the Gaia Gundam. I'm building this Gaia Gundam. It was out of my backlog. I have some other kits to build. My backlog is getting a little low, But if you would like to help me out there and decide what I build next and not have it be out of my backlog, you could do so at my Amazon wish list. If you buy something from the wish list, it'll come to me in the mail directly. I will make a dedicated YouTube video about the thing that you purchased for my mailbag series, and I will also build something, like sooner before I build anything else. It'll be the next thing that I work on. I've got Lego sets. I got model kits. I have inexpensive kits. I have expensive kits. I have some Lego Technics. I've never built Lego Technic on stream before. Would like to do that. Small model kits, big model kits, expensive, wide variety of stuff. I'm always trying to add new things to the list. I got some Lego knockoff in there. All kinds of different things, and some gear at the bottom because it's nice to have gear, and to have the gear option. But yeah, check that out. See if there's something there that you would like to see me put together. I definitely, at some point, folks, do want to build that that knockoff Lego set, the A-Team van, because it comes with guns, and I want to find out if those guns fit in the hands of a regular minifig. I need to know if I can get a minifig and put a gun in its hand for these knockoff guns, or if they're just there for show. But anyway, take a look at the wish list, see if there's something there you'd like to see me build. I would love that. Let's see. I have an alternative to Amazon because it's nice to have alternatives because some people just don't want to do that. It's Throne. See if there's something on my Throne wish list that you'd like to pick up for me. And then, of course, the most convoluted way to support me financially is to go to, is to go to USA Gundam Store. At USA Gundam Store, you can buy a gift card. They will send you an email with a gift card code. You will take that gift card code, and then you will copy and paste it, and then paste it to me in a whisper here on Twitch, or a DM on Twitter, or a Twitter, or Blue Sky, or Mastodon with that gift card code, and then I will use that gift card code to buy a model kit. Guys, great news, everybody. Somebody who does not follow me, and no one I know is following them, sent me a message on Twitter that their sister saw my profile while browsing X on their phone, and the sister is interested in me, and there's a link to a .fun. I'll open the link to complete the registration, and she will take the initiative to call you. Remember to say hello to her. She is very shy. That's incredible. Someone shy has their sister send me an unprompted DM. That's lovely. I'm definitely going to sign up for that after stream. Definitely click the link. Yes. Definitely going to click that link, Lord Crashington, and then enter very personal information to register to talk to a stranger who had their sister send me a message. Yes, I'll definitely do that. All of that checks out. Arist fan, I don't know why you aren't trusting this. Okay, if you want to support me and not spend any money, you can join my Discord. My Discord is full of fine folks. We'd love to have you over the Discord. That would be nice. A couple of video links for you to check out. The most recent episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club is my video talking about the latest trend in anime, which is called Banished. And guess what, folks? Even though it hasn't taken over the world, it will. And next season, there's a show in the Banished category. That's right. There's a Banished healer, a guy who was kicked out of the heroes party for being not as good a healer. They all can do healing, so they don't need him. They don't realize he's great at healing, and also he can fight. They never let him fight, but he can. He can whip ass as a close range fighter, and so he's gonna do that now. And then various shenanigans happen. That's next season. More on that in the promo talk. I'll just say it right now. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, Pat Bear's Anime Club live. I'll be recording next Monday's video, but it'll be tomorrow on stream. I will be doing my summer wrap-up fall preview. I'll be talking about the shows I watched and the shows I didn't watch in the summer season, and then I'll be looking ahead to the shows I'm excited about and the shows that I'm not excited about. And again, it's happening a small amount of isekai. I don't know what happened. They front-loaded isekai all in the front half of the year, and this second half, we're getting some big sequel isekai, but not a lot of new isekai. It's weird. It's almost like the next big thing is the banished subgenre, and that's coming. Anyway, speaking of isekai, check out Kuma Baer. The most recent episode of Kuma Baer. I'll have a new one up on Wednesday, but this last one was me talking about Reincarnated as a Sword for Isekai month in September. I'm talking about 4 isekai that I like a lot, and one of them is Reincarnated as a Sword, which is fucking fantastic. We got a best girl, we got a weird isekai, fun powers, it's action heavy, it's also cute and fun, good range of, there's a really annoying character who kind of redeems herself. The main focus is Fran, the cat girl. She's fantastic. She's a best girl. Big fan of Fran, the cat girl that is just trying her goddamn best, that thinks her master is really cool and just wants to brag about her sword, who is her master. Check out my 60-second video about that show. Now, the anime that Jesus fucking Christ, this goddamn anime that we got to talk about here is unbelievably wild. We're talking about the 12th episode of My Dear Friend Nokotan and Dahlia in Bloom. We'll talk about those last 2 episodes. Before I get into that, I do need to drink a beverage. We got to transition back to our overhead camera. I got to drink something. So we'll do that right now. All right. We're going to talk about some anime here. The 12th and final episode of My Dear Friend Nokotan and Dahlia in Bloom. We're going to we're going to switch things up here, and we're going to start with Dahlia in Bloom. We'll do that first, and then we'll do the second one here, My Dear Friend Nokotan, because this episode is so goddamn fucking bonkers that I want to talk about it, and then it's gonna be so weird to be like, let me talk about this fucking nonsense, and then also, you know, it was a pretty chill ending to Dahlia in Bloom. Dahlia in Bloom is the story of a girl who was reincarnated in a fantasy world as a crafter. She worked very hard along with her father Carlo. He passed away. The engagement that had been set up for her got dissolved because he fell in love, quote unquote, with someone else. And this was a marriage of convenience. She is going about her business. She's building up her business. She's doing her best. She makes friends with a guy named Wilfred, who is a knight and is the son of an earl, is high-ranking person. And they have a unlikely friendship because of their shared passions about stuff and their interest in each other. It is not romantic. It will get there. This is a romance show, but it was an incredibly slow burn in that they don't kiss by the end. Episode 12 does not end with them kissing, which is frustrating but understandable considering the genre that we are in. It would have been better if they had kissed. That would have been good. They did not kiss. The show was still good despite that. Anyway, episode 12. Dahlia is trying to make another magical sword. She tries to use she's been using slime to try to make enchanted swords so that their effects work. But she realizes that earth magic can neutralize acid, so she coats the black slime sword with yellow slime powder because that thing feels like, and it neutralizes it so that way she can use it. But then the sword starts moving on its own, and Dahlia puts it away because she's like, this sword could be possessed. which I would like to know more about, and unfortunately we don't get to learn more about, is did she make a cursed sword? We don't know more about that, but it's something for later. So this is like a bunch of short little scenes, because this is like from a bunch of chapters. They jump ahead, I believe, in the light novel, because they're ahead of the manga. They jump ahead in the light novel to some stuff that we won't see, just to kind of give you an overview of some of the stuff they would get into, because I don't think there's going to be a season 2. They're experimenting with a mirror snake, and they see a shared hallucination of them dancing. Like they're dancing together in a fancy setup. And Dahlia is fairly confident that this is not a mirror snake, that was a rainbow snake, which means that they saw a vision of the future. They didn't hallucinate. They saw a scene from the future. And in the future, they're dancing together at a fancy thing, which is fun. And that is like the closest to them kissing we're getting in the show, is that they shared a vision of them eventually sharing a dance, which is cool. We like that. Let's see. Later, Gabriella, who is the older lady that is kind of shepherding her in her business, Dahlia in her business, asks her about marriage, and Dahlia says that she's uninterested, which Gabriella doesn't believe. So apparently, she starts hatching a ploy that she gets the feeling, okay, Wolfred, like, you like Wolfred. He's the son of an earl. So we got to figure out a way to get you either becoming, at the very least, a baroness, which feels unlikely, or if she does something where she's like a supplier of merchandise for the royal family, that's possible. That would be prestigious enough that she could get married to an earl's son, even if that's the son that doesn't, like, his dad has nothing to do with him and he doesn't have any magic. Like, that's still prestigious enough to make that work. So apparently they're going to be working behind the scenes. Let's see. Dahlia hosts a party to thank a bunch of the ladies. We haven't seen a lot, but that, you know, she's still friendly with a lot of the ladies that helped her out. So she has a little bit of a party. That seems fun. Dahlia and Wolfred visit, respectively, the grave sites of Dahlia's father and Wolfred's mother. And Wolfred makes a declaration to Vanessa's gravesite, his mom, who he had mixed, you know, he was always in her shadow, and he's always going to one day try to surpass her great magic. And he says that, you know, he tells her about Dahlia and how he's going to protect her and someday surpass Vanessa. Dahlia thanks Carlo for being a good dad, and she's determined to be as good of a craftsman as he is. And they leave together talking about what possible things they could do with the weird sword that they made together, that, like, possibilities of what they could do with that sword. And that's how the series ends. And overall, my thoughts, I'll probably talk a bit more tomorrow about it. I mean, I'm sure I will. Dahlia and Bloom is a real slow burn series, but I fucking love it. Dahlia is so great. You know, like, yes, she is using ideas from the real world in order to craft things, but she's not invincible. She's not overpowered. She's just a lady who's gone through some fucking hardships. Like, this fantasy world was supposed to be better than her previous life, and it is in so many ways, but there's still sadness. Good friends along the way. Good support system. Yes, I would have liked if they had ramped up the romance stuff a little bit, but I understand why they didn't. You know, I can understand it. But yeah, great show. Really liked it. Now I have to tell you about my dear friend Nokotan. We got to fucking talk about episode 12 of my dear friend Nokotan. Now, episode 11 ended on a huge goddamn cliffhanger where Koshi went to school and was like, hey, I haven't seen Nokotan. And nobody knew who she was talking about. Nokotan seemingly had faded away from existence. Episode 12 starts with Nokotan fading back into existence, and apparently Nokotan is fine. And later, when Koshi is just like, hey, can we talk about how you disappeared? Nokotan is like, nah, we don't have time to talk about that. And they don't have time to talk about that because there are murderers coming. I'm sorry. Apologies. There are murderers. I'm going to type this in chat. Murderers. Apparently, Nokotan is from a place called the Deer Den. And Kumatori, the hunter from previous episodes, he comes across the Deer Den, and he sends a DM on a fake Twitter to Nokotan, letting Nokotan know, hey, I found these people, and they're coming for you. A lot of people know about this and don't explain how they know about it. But the thing you need to know about this episode is that it's fucking bonkers from start to finish, and it's fast-paced, and it's good, but it's unbelievably nonsense. Yeah, Nokotan won't talk about what happened before. The Deer Den is sending assassins after Nokotan, or again, murderers. They are coming to kidnap Nokotan to bring her back to the den because Nokotan escaped to do important things, which apparently some of those important things were the plot of the show, hanging out at a school, starting a deer club, eating deer crackers, the fashion show, the school fight, all that stuff. All of those things apparently were important to Nokotan to do. Also, Pat, how do they know? How are they going to find her? How do they know where she is? Well, apparently, they've been watching the anime because you may remember that this show is aware that it's an anime. So apparently they've been watching the anime, and now they've discovered where Nokotan is, and they're coming for Nokotan. So one of the assassins arrives, and Nokotan challenges them to a duel, and they compete in a dance competition. And the idea is that if Nokotan wins, she gets a year supply of deer crackers. Because she loves deer crackers, we know that. And if she loses, she's got to go back to the den. Nokotan and Kyun, Kyun is the guy. They dance. They ask Sonata, who we haven't seen a lot of in this show, but has been around, who won. And Sonata says, Kyun won. Which I guess he did do better. Men in deer masks show up, and they put Nokotan in a cage. Koshi is like, well, I like Nokotan, but maybe this is for the best. And then Koshi is reminded that if Nokotan leaves, then the Deer Club gets disbanded, and Koshi has to pay back all of the club funds that she's used for things. So that's motivation enough for Koshi to challenge Kyun to a duel. And they have a dance fight, which Sonata says is a draw. And this is a dance that is very similar to the dance that from earlier in the season that Koshi did that that she thought she was alone, but it turns out Nokotan was watching her. And then Nokotan also shows up. She's not in her cage. She's in the costume she wore, or she looks like the flower arranging guy from the flower arranging club. And she decides that Kyun won the dance, and then Kyun gives her a deer cracker. So we're still that's nonsense. All of this is fucking nonsense. We are still at the point where it looks like she's gonna go. But I guess that didn't count. So now another group shows up, and they are more murderers. They're named Chikamaru and Hana, and Chikamaru and Hana, Anko knows them because they're kids. They're kids in costumes, and they were in the background of an earlier episode, I guess. There's like a brief flash of them. So they've been in the background this whole time. But they show up, and now it's going to be a 2-on-2 competition where it's a mind reading competition, and they can read each other's minds very well. And Nokotan makes some kind of joke at Anko's expense. It's not worth really talking about. I shouldn't have brought it up. But the real thing is that Nokotan or Koshi is just like, there's no way I know what you're thinking. Like, there's just no way I could think about what you're thinking. Like, it's just impossible that I would be able to do this. Like, it's just not feasible. So it looks like we're sunk here. Looks like things are not going to work out. Sorry, let me get this on here. So this is going to go like this. And this is going to go. Lip is forward. Yeah. All right. There we go. There we go. That's an arm built. And a sticker on. Another arm done. So, okay. What else keeps happening? Then Neko and the other group, Neko and the other girls, the girls from the student council show up, and they want to destroy the Deer Club. Neko wants to destroy the Deer Club. She doesn't want the Deer Club to get disbanded. So they're going to face the kids in it. But then apparently he finds out that it's another kid's birthday, and they have to go to a birthday party. So they're going to go leave. So they forfeit. So Nokotan does not have to go back to the den at this point. Bashime shows up finally. Not been in this episode, I believe, at all. If not, certainly not much. Wait, did they not really build another hand? I only built one hand. Why didn't they have me build the other hand, everybody? Step 9 is working on the legs. All right, we're jumping ahead. I'm building the other goddamn hand. I don't know why I'm not building another hand here. It's going to hold a shield. We're building it. I'm skipping ahead, like I said. I'm going to need D1, D4, and B30. All right. Okay, so Bashime shows up. There is a letter from the hunter that says Sento is coming. That's the best murderer from the Deer's Den. Nokotan and everybody are talking about it. They're trying to figure it out. Sento wants them to go to the gym. And Koshi's like, I'm going to train you, Nokotan, so that you can defeat this guy. So there's a training montage a bit. They go to the gym. This is the gym from, I think it's it's the battle arena from like episode 2, I want to say, or 3. There's a huge crowd. Sento is apparently very popular, and he fights in a sumo style that Nokotan is not prepared for. It's a bunch of rounds, and Nokotan just completely whips the first round. Okay, so I need D1, which is this here. Completely whiffs. In the second round, Nokotan reveals that Nokotan has nunchucks, which are her antlers, which we've seen her use previously, which should theoretically be against the rules because they're a weapon, but they are a part of Nokotan's body. So the judges say that it's okay because they're antlers. They fight. There's a bunch of rounds. Sento, sometimes he goes back and forth, but he's seemingly winning quite a bit. Nokotan does the deer copter thing. She throws bombs. You may remember that from previously. Lots of things that have happened in the show, like her throwing bombs and such, is happening in this one. Okay, here's the shield. Literally holding the shield, which is cool. All right, we got our shield in. Now we can work on the legs. I just didn't want to build the legs without having a hand on this kit. And now this popped off, so I gotta fix it. There we go. I just wanted to have the shield on there. All right, now I have the shield. Okay. Sento defeats her in the final round, and Sento has not talked at this point and doesn't speak. So because Sento doesn't talk, they interview Nokotan, and Nokotan gives a heartfelt speech that they put on a good show, and everyone liked it, and they liked the fight. And in the end, didn't they both kind of win? And apparently, the judges love that, and the judges declare Nokotan and Sento co-winners of the fight. And Sento agrees, because Sento apparently liked that speech. So Nokotan does not have to go back to the den for now. The episode ends with a shot of Nokotan and Koshi striking a victory pose as everyone cheers for them. And that's the end of this goddamn nonsense show. So the biggest thing is, this was not what I was expecting going into this episode. Going into this episode, I was expecting, honestly, the thing I was expecting most was, this is going to be an episode of Koshi trying to figure out if she hallucinated Nokotan or if Nokotan was real. Because there was a whole thing where Nokotan seemingly is a girl and also a deer, but they're a real deer as well. And there's also the time where she was like a Shinto priestess, but is she a priestess, or is it somebody else? And there were a lot of questions that you don't need answers to, because this show doesn't make any fucking sense on purpose, because it's weird and wild. And bonkers. But I thought we were going to get an episode trying to figure out like answers to some of the problems. We don't know why Nokotan disappeared in the last episode and why she was fading away and how she came back. That is not explained. You just have to go with it, I guess. I loved the idea of a sumo guy just wrestling like it's wrestling, like pro wrestling. That was very fun. The fights in this one were good. They basically called back everything except, I think, for YouTube, because they were trying to be streamers for a little while, and I think that maybe they could have done a callback to that if I'm nitpicking. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, my dear friend Nokotan is fucking wild and dumb in a way that I really, really like. I really, really enjoy how goddamn goofy that show is. It is one of my... Hey, spoilers for next month, where I talk about my favorite shows on Kuma Baer. That's one of them. This is one of my favorite shows of the season. It's just so fucking weird and good and bonkers. It's so bizarre. I would love more of it. Yes, it does have a catchy opening song that you can really shake your butt to. And, you know, it has a catchy opener. One of the things I know some people didn't like was Anko, who was the sister, Koshi's sister, who was kind of obsessed with Koshi. And that is, you know, yes, the siscon thing wasn't fun. That gets downplayed very quickly because they are so focused on moving to the next weird thing that, you know, like it. There's a whole episode that is dedicated to the other characters, basically because they haven't had much to do. But yeah, if that was your like, oh, I got to that part and then I kind of bailed because it got weird. Like, it doesn't take itself seriously in any way. I'll talk more about it tomorrow for Pat Bear's Anime Club Live, but just that show is so fucking good and weird. Please check it out if you haven't already, because it's a real good time. All right, I got to put a big sticker that folds in weird ways on this foot here, which I don't want to do at this point in the stream, but I will do it because we're working on the foot here. So that's part of it. So I'll put this piece on early because it's easy to do. And these are kind of complicated for as far as feet, as far as feet go, because this kit has a transformation. So it's got like an animal ground like version of it. It's kind of like a 4-legged mode, which is fun. But yeah, I've heard this transformation is actually makes sense and looks pretty good because it's, because it's not trying to be a flight mode. Therefore it works. All right, so this is going to go in like this. Now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you up to? What are you into? Let me know what's going on with y'all, because we got some time left in the stream. I always like to hear from folks about, if you're watching any TV shows, you're playing any video games, what's going on with you. I will tell you that last night I watched Wrestle Princess 5 from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. It was one of their bigger shows that had English commentary. Not all their shows have commentary at all, and most don't have any commentary, but the ones that do often have English. So we had English language commentary, which is nice. All the belts were on the line. My girls, Daisy Monkey, unfortunately lost their tag titles. They were defeated, but they lost to two of the top women in the company, Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita. There is no shame in losing to two of the best wrestlers of the company, one of whom is the goddamn ace of the company. There's just no shame in losing. Okay. I don't know how this is a weird sticker. You can look at this fucking sticker as you're writing in chat what you've been up to lately. I think it goes here first. It might go here and then wrap around. I think this is what this does. I don't know. I'm going to figure this out as we go here. Because this sticker has to wrap. Okay, yeah, it has to wrap all the way around and go like that. Okay, this sticker is weird, but I did get it to work. I'm not going to look forward to doing that on the other foot. That was strange. Anyway, we're done with the foot here. I just have to panel line it. I'm bummed for Daisy Monkey. They had a few title defenses. This was cool. They were in a bad spot because the more established tag teams in that company are all older folks than them. And there is a hierarchy in that kind of promotion where generally people that have seniority are the ones that are winning big matches. There was a movement there where younger people are champions, but that only lasts so long. Excuse me, unfortunately. But the hope is that they can get those belts back. Maki and Miyu are apparently in Japan a lot for the next few months. They will be in America. Maki does America quite often, but it sounds like they are going to make title defenses a priority, which would be nice. The main event was phenomenal. Miyu Watanabe defended and retained the championship against Ryo Mizunami, aka Anaki, who you may know from her brief stints in AEW. Ryo is a phenomenon. She's a force. I would love it if she actually signed full-time with AEW, with AEW. I would like that. But with TJPW, it would be rad if she became a full-timer. She's fucking awesome. That match kicked ass. It was cool as hell. Also, in the main event, or in the second half there, we had Emi Sakura. Speaking of AEW, Emi Sakura came in and fought against Shoko Nakajima in one of my favorite matches of the year. That match fucking ruled. It was goddamn so good. Unbelievable. And then, hours after that match, Shoko got on a plane to fly to America to wrestle in Charlotte, North Carolina, for DPW. And that's fucking wild because she was in a goddamn brutal match. And so for her to be able to do that is remarkable. It's rad as hell. And it was cool. It was cool seeing Emi win in TJPW. The wrestler formerly known as Xia Li from WWE wrestled in a tag team match. It was her first time in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, her first time in Japan as a wrestler. And it was very funny because she is someone who almost never talked in promos. They didn't give her promo time. She speaks English. But so she wasn't trash talking in Japan. She wasn't trash talking in Chinese. She was trash talking in English because she knows that it's an international company. And it was very funny because I'm just like, I saw some people saying like, I've never heard her talk before. And I was like, yeah, the WWE never fucking let her do it. So that was kind of cool. Max the Impaler trioed with Aja Kong and Paul Harajuku, and that was very fun. It was a good show, long show, but a good show all around. I was into it. I was happy that I had spent my Sunday nights watching that program. Now I will see what y'all been writing here in the chat. What you've been saying in the chat. Ghostfowl says, did Duskmorn pre-release and had fun with that? Playing Monster Hunter World is an easy sort of hunt and chill kind of game. Hell yeah. That's fun. Yeah, I know some people who are pretty amped for Duskmorn. Some folks, that's not their aesthetic, and other people, that is definitely their aesthetic, so they're enjoying the cards. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I know that they just Commander just banned a bunch of cards that folks were freaking out about. That was the big news today in the world of Magic the Gathering. As far as I can tell, that was one of the big stories was the ban list being updated. Aristofan says, I'm still playing Metal Gear Solid 5. I've gotten farther than I had before. Nice. I played a lot of that goddamn game. A whole lot of that game. I never finished the thing where, I don't even know if they took it out, but there was a thing in that goddamn fucking video game where if you did, after Silence left your team and disappeared, you could play her level like 20 something or 30 or 50 times, some ridiculously high number. And if you did that, then she would return, which felt cheap as shit. That's post-game stuff. Lord Crash says, been playing more UFO 50. There's a wild game called Mooncat that is a platformer where the controls are very unusual. I have heard speak of this Mooncat. I can't get this to work. This might be the wrong piece. Hold on, everybody. I might have the wrong piece here. So hold on. Is this B3? Because if this is B4, then maybe that's why it's not working. No, it's B3, so that's the right piece. Is this B5 and B4? This is B5 and B4. Okay. Oh, I need 6 and... Let me take these other pieces out while I figure this out. 6 and 7 go here. All right. Yeah, I've heard good things about that. Which takes a lot used to before it clicks. D-pad moves left. Face buttons move right. Hitting both jumps and hitting a button in the air does a leg drop to bounce off enemies. Yeah, Mooncat seems fucking cool. I haven't played that yet. You may remember that I was gifted UFO 50 from a friend, and I've been playing through a bunch of those games, but I have not. I have not played Mooncat yet. I'll have to check out Mooncat. Last person says, continue to play a ton of Satisfactory, but it's starting to crash a lot more often. That's a shame. Watch the finals of the Sajum Slam, that team tournament of streamers who got coached by, the FGC people you talked about. Yes, I heard some good stuff about that. The TwitchCon setup was kind of jank, so my favorite team ended up going out first, unfortunately. That's a shame. How did Doki Bird do? Did Doki Bird make the finals? Oh God, this is embarrassing. I don't know anything about anything except there was Hullabaloo. A friend of mine was very clued in on this and was like, it's wild that Doki Bird is in this tournament because somebody that she had a falling out with because of other things is also in the tournament, but in a different grouping, and it's okay, but it's the first time they've both been in stuff like this. And I was just like, oh, wow, I do not understand this drama, but this drama is engaging. So I don't know. I have not kept up. I don't profess to watch a lot of the VTuber Doki Bird. Her team did, but being a VTuber, she had to bow out because of the whole can't appear IRL thing. Yes, one of the issues with having a tournament where its finals were at a live event, whereas the other things are not live, is you can't be at the live event, so they either need to let you play remotely or you have to bow out. Okay, well, that's good that her team did well. Again, I don't know. I don't really know Doki Bird. I know more about VTubers than I used to. I'll say that. Have I watched a lot of their live content? Not particularly. I did watch... okay, so that's a lie. I did watch some of Gigi Murin, who is a goblin. That's her gimmick. She's a goblin girl. Okay, so is this supposed to be... yeah, you should be able to see this whole... So this has to go on tight here, and I can't do that. There are some VTubers that do IRL stuff. Yes, I know there's a VTuber who has revealed her face so she can do live stuff, but most of them do not. They just don't do that element of it, yes, which I understand and respect. Oh, I got it. This was really tough to get on for some reason, this part of the leg. I don't know why it was, but it was. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. The Goblin VTuber Gigi Marin did a event for September 21st, being very inspired by Demi and other people that do jokes about the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, September, do you remember the 21st night of September? She did a bit for that, which was, she was like, I'm doing a secret karaoke stream. And she did like an opening song. She did like one song there to open up and then talk to people. And she was like, all right, it's September 21st. So here's the first song. And the second song. And the third song. And she did like a 8-hour stream where the only song she sang was September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And she does not sing well, and that was not the point. And that fucking ruled, man. That ruled. That kicked ass. I also got sent a clip by a friend of mine who was like, hey, Pat, I don't expect you to watch this. Because, look, one of my buddies is very into VTubers, especially HoloLive. And so he has been sending me clips of things because he's excited that I am at least somewhat interested in it. So he sent me a clip of, I guess, the Japanese and some of the people that also speak English, but the Japanese HoloLive people did a GTA server, a GTA 5 server thing. And at one point, one of them got a car that is like a weird car that is a 3-wheeler. That is apparently a real thing called the Peanut. And it's a clown car. It's a little 3-wheel clown car that she was driving around. But she kept calling it Peanut because that's what it says on it. And at some point, she started calling it Peanuts. She's like, my peanuts. I'm driving my peanuts around. And anyone she drove up to immediately started laughing because they're driving like sports cars or an ambulance or whatever. And she shows up in this tiny little joke car that is so small that her character model was sticking out the back of it. And so she's just driving around going, la, 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 my peanuts. And like, I don't know, I can't do it justice. It was very fucking funny. I've never watched a moment of Inu, or Ina. I've never watched a moment of Ina, but her choice of picking up a really dumb car made me laugh quite a bit. Yeah, again, I'm not... Gigi Marin was the first time I've watched extended hours of any VTuber outside... VTubers in the system, I should say. I should clarify. VTubers within the VTuber system of like HoloLive. My buddy, who is taking a long break, my friend and pal, Vectroid, Rara, I watched her quite a bit when she was streaming. She's been on a long break. This has been a weird 2024 has been weird for her, but she has not been actively streaming that much. But, you know, I used to see Rara quite a bit. So I'm used to Rara. Okay, so this leg is weird because it's got a bend, right? But because it also has a mode where this is going to go like this, the legs also have to bend the other way, partially. So it has to kind of bend to other way, so it can do like this. Yeah, it's got to go like that. It's a weird leg. It's got to maneuver around some. Oh yeah, it's got to do like that. Weird. I don't love this sticker. I don't love that sticker at all. But otherwise, this kit's pretty fucking cool. And we're gonna wrap up the stream with there. We did a lot. We started this kit at 0. And so far, we have done the weapons, the chest, the head, the arms, one leg. I think I'm fucking finishing this kit on Thursday, which I didn't want to say because kits are fucking taking no time for me to build lately. I don't have a big backlog, but yeah, I think I'm going to fucking finish this kit on Thursday. I'll have to do a poll on Wednesday with my patrons to see what I build next. But yeah, that's going to wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I will see you on the next stream. We are going to end things by going on a raid. That is how we end every stream. We're going to go find someone doing cool shit and go spend some time with them. So I hope you will come along on this raid. It is Monday, so normally we would do Merry Monday, but of course Mary is not streaming tonight because of TwitchCon. So we will not be raiding Mary, which is fine. Good for her. Let's see. Who could we raid? Who's doing stuff that we want to go hang out with? How long have they been streaming? All right, let's see. How many hours have you been streaming, Liz? Liz has been going for 10 hours. I have no idea when Liz is going to finish up, but 10 hours is too many hours, Liz. I'm not going to raid you when you be going for 10 fucking hours. That's wild, because she'll be finishing at any time. So instead, let's go hang out with Arthur Geese. Arthur Geese is playing Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. So I started saying Red Dead instead of Dead Rising. But yeah, he's playing Dead Rising. So let's go hang out with Arthur. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me on the stream. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Please come along on this raid. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, Pat Bear's Anime Club Live. It is my, I do it 4 times a year. I'll be talking about all the anime for the summer season. I'll be previewing the anime for the winter season, so the fall season, I should say, and finishing off the year. It was a weird summer season. We'll talk about the best. There's plenty of meh, but some good. And then we'll preview the next season, which has a lot of weird, cool shit. I'll talk to you soon, everyone. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.